Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus and today I'm previewing a couple of rounds of T.D.O, an upcoming cooperative game published by King Raccoon Games, who have asked me to do a preview of their game. Again, it's cooperative. I will do or simulate a two-player game. In theory, you can play it solo, but honestly, I don't think the rules are quite there yet. They may need some more little bit of balancing to make it work for a solo player experience. You can play it no matter what, but I think it's a little bit too difficult the way as it is so far. But if you're all up for a challenge, then absolutely go try it out. T.D.O, or rather in T.D.O, 1 to 5 players embody heroes protecting humankind from so-called titans. Each one of you has very special abilities and talents, and I will come to those in a second. 10 years ago, the titan Gaia broke free from the earth mantle to install itself as a living god, dominating humankind to stop us from destroying and polluting the earth. We won the fight, but that only attracted other titans from distant worlds, now reaching Earth in order to revenge Gaia and become a kaiju god on Earth. This kaiju thing, which movie was it? Maybe it's even a comic series or so, but this sounds definitely familiar to me. The T.D.O is the last bastion against that threat. And honestly, I have no clue what T.D.O stands for. I think it's Titan Defense Organization. I have no clue. But yeah, we are basically trying to bring down one of those titans. And in this playthrough, we are playing against the World Shaper. And you already see it. You are definitely looking at prototype components here. I will come to that a little bit later when we zoom in on the overall game board. So everything that you see here is definitely prototype. So a lot of things will most likely change and definitely will look more polished in the final product. I believe some of the artwork is already pretty final. So this looks pretty cool. But yeah, obviously, let's say the component quality is not where it should be or can be for sure. And we will definitely see that. For example, this is the, let's call it a little standee for the World Shaper here. The World Shapers are all these different kaiju or titans. I think there are 4 right now, which I have access to. So there is one on the back side of the World Shaper. We also have Tree back here. We have the Plasma Leviathan, which seems to be a very nasty shark. The cool thing about this game, they all come with very different action and reaction decks. So there is really a whole pile of cards for all of these different titans. So they all come with very, very different challenges and actions they do, something I really do appreciate here. And ultimately, we are trying to bring the health down of all of those 4 health tracks here down to 0 in order to win this game. I think this is front, these are some of the sides here, and this is the rear, I believe. Yeah, that's the case. They're all protected by armor tokens here, which we will have to bring down. And again, as soon as we have driven all those health bars down to 0, we have won the game. We lose the game, or rather the Titan wins, if either at least 3 heroes dies. You might ask yourself, hey, how can 3 heroes die in a 2-player game? Once you are dead, I get to choose another hero, so there is no player elimination in this game, which is definitely a good thing and a modern thing. But again, as soon as there are basically 3 heroes here in the center of the board, this means game over. And second, we also lose the game if all 3 T.D.O bases have been destroyed. And those bases are destroyed rather easily, because as soon as a kaiju moves into the zone of a base, that base is immediately destroyed. And then, yeah, we can do that 3 times. These titans are not moving extremely fast, so I think you still have some time, but definitely this is a timer for this game, so you really have to drive the monster down. And I think this titan here, the World Shaper, starts in time zone 5 here in Paris, and there are these setup cards which basically tell you to do just that. So we place the respective Titan markers here. So every Titan comes with their own set of Titan markers. So this is very easy. This is lava. So as soon as you're moving in or into your turn there, you're getting a damage. Then it also tells you where the Titan starts, and then you also say, basically put, well, it says where the T.D.O bases are being placed in a random fashion. I think right now there are only 3 in my prototype. I could imagine that maybe in later iterations of the game, in the final product, there might be more of those bases to choose from or to draw them randomly. I don't know. Let's have a quick look at our 2 heroes. So first of all, we have Captain Plate and we have the so-called friends. I think could this be the Goonies? I don't really know, but the game also comes with a whole bunch of different heroes that you can play. So I think this is really one of the games which you can endlessly expand, which is definitely a good thing. Let's have a closer look at our two heroes now, as they all have their special or individual special powers, and they also all come with their different upgrade cards here, which we can unlock throughout the game by spending energy. So this one here, for example, allows you to roll an additional die. Definitely huge. Here you can move for free, or this one here at any time pay 2 energy to increase your armor by 1. Really cool. Apart from that, we have the overcharge ability. You may discard energy to prevent 1 damage each. Very, very nice. Of course, we really want to make sure we are getting some energy here. And then each of the heroes also have their so-called ultimate power, which you can, for example, unlock on this track here with a 5 or a 6. I will come to those rules in a second or in a minute. This is the energy blast. Once per turn, pay any number of 3 energy to increase your damage by 1 each. So that can be really, really nice, especially if that really helps you to drive down the health track on basically on the World Shaper, for example. And then up next we have the Friends. Their upgrade cards with special power cards, I can't quite remember what these are referred to. For 3 energy we gain a second standee, which we can move individually from the other standee. So this really helps, especially at lower player counts actually, to get more movement onto the board. So that's definitely a very nice ability and relatively cheap to get. So I think that's definitely an early goal, I think. Then for 5 energy we can heal 5 health on yourself or any other hero in range 2. And we gain 1 card from the sponsor card market for free. I think I will cover those sponsor cards in a minute too. This is basically a one-time use card. This card after use, it says it here. And for 9 energy, take no damage if Titan pushes you. And I think pushing in this case means normally when a Titan moves into basically our space or even the time zone, I think it's a space. Yeah, I have to check that. We are taking some damage. In this case, we are not taking the damage here. So that can be definitely pretty useful as well. But yeah, it costs 9 energy, which isn't nothing. Our ability, it's the plot armor. Really hilarious. I like that from a wording perspective. We gain 1 energy for every damage we receive. So that's really cool. And can we take a little bit more damage than Captain Blade? It seems this track is a little bit longer. We only have 1 armor. Captain Blade has 3, by the way. And there are a lot of ways, for example, like this one here to up our armor. This can go unlimited, so we can have whatever 25 armor here, not a problem. Our ultimate power here, which in this case is also on this track but also gives us some health, so that's definitely nice. Once per turn you may distribute your current energy between you and other heroes in range 2, so that's also very, very handy. So if we really want to make sure to give some energy to our friend Captain Blade, then we can do that with our ultimate power here. And again, our ultimate power, because it's more of a support action, still gets us something by simply healing, which is definitely important. Nice. The starting positions, that's I think being shown here on the card exactly. That's 9 and 10 for Captain Blade. So there is definitely some distance between our heroes and the World Shaper down here. So yeah, we really have to spend some movement. The cool thing is there is a base in our way which we could leverage, because if we are entering or passing through this space, we simply get 3 armor. But this might be the first base we are losing. So let's see, maybe we really should utilize this as soon as possible. So because again, basically 1, 2, 4 steps away, we will lose this base here. So I think we still have some time. I think we can start our game. We have a nice little turn overview here, and right now I have decided that Captain Blade is the so-called active player. And the cool thing about this game is, and this is why I think it doesn't really shine with, let's say, only 1 player, all the other players also get to take some actions here. So they're at least rolling a die and can do something, which of course in a solo game there are no other players. So I think maybe it should be that in a solo game you get to roll an additional die, for example. Could be a relatively easy fix, but of course you also have to manage your health completely differently, and also the damage that you have to do to the World Shaper is more difficult. But yeah, you get the idea. All the other players, in this case the friends, will also be allowed to roll 1 die, assign that die, and yeah, do stuff with that die, which is definitely always useful. We cannot use bonus dice for the other players. The active player can do so. In this phase of the game you can pay 3 energy to roll an extra die. And I believe you can even do that multiple times. But yeah, you also want to make sure to get some energy left for your special powers here. But I think I also promised you to have a quick look at those T.D.O sponsor cards, which you can buy for 9, 6 or 6 energy respectively. They all come with 0 artwork. So here there's an available logo space. I'm sure if they're trying to sell this as let's say ad space. But no, I think we will see some artwork sooner than later. So yeah, we can basically, these are all this cards. So this one protects us for damage. That's nice. Here's something in range 2 to Titan. Draw 2 reaction cards and destroy one, shuffle back the other. So that's really nice if you really want to get rid of some of those reaction cards, some of the more nasty ones. I think this is really having this deck control is a cool aspect of the game. And the most expensive one, play this card at any time. That's definitely helpful. Prevent Titan markers to be placed in one time zone or move one T.D.O base by 2 steps. That is amazing. This is one of the few ways how you can protect your T.D.O space. So I think getting this one out would also help us. Nice. So, but again, these are those sponsor cards. This is where we also need some of the energy. Okay, now it's time to start rolling some dice, and be warned, I'm really playing with beta rules. In the meantime, I also received, let's say, a slightly newer version of the rules. Minor things have changed already, so everything I'm doing wrong, I will play in those beta rules. No, of course, I will definitely make some goofs. Some of the rules may change until the campaign starts, maybe until the final product will hit the or so. Again, it's one of those prototypes, so some of these things might change throughout the way. So let's roll the 3 dice for Captain Plate here respectively. Okay, that's a 1, a 4, 2 and a 1. And I really do hope we can see those dice on camera. I'm looking at my display. It looks okay, I guess. And I was just reminded actually while looking at the newer version of the rules, this is already outdated. I think now you have to spend 5 in order to roll extra dice. I think this is the same for this one down here, but bear with me, that's what it is. I'm not using this too often, quite honestly. So we have done this. The next step would be to check for any combinations. Of course, this is only true for the, let's say, active player, because they're the only one who are rolling more than 1 dice. And you want to check for combinations. So if you have 2 of a kind, we would gain 1 energy. If we have 3 of a kind, we would immediately roll an additional die. That's amazing. Of course, with 1, 2, and 5, there is really nothing to gain here. Okay, next we can or have to assign those dice and trigger those. And this is now really also a very cool element of the game. We don't have to do that in a particular order. So if I want, I can, for example, start with the friends. They can assign the die with a value 3 to this track, to this track, this track, to this track here, for example. Then we could take a turn, or we could say we take 2 turns here with Captain Blade, then maybe the friends will take the turn. So this is really a very nice coordinating aspect. This is what this game is all about, coordinating your effort. Yes, of course, you're still rolling an awful lot of dice, but there is still a lot of decision making, what you can do with those dice, which is definitely something I do enjoy. So I think I have to really think about this for a second. I believe for the friends, it's relatively obvious. We can't do any damage because we can only do damage to range 0. Basically, we have to be in the same time zone as the Titan in order to do something. This is, I think, a little bit limiting in respect to my hero choices, actually. But I've chosen those randomly, and I will live with my results here. So in this case, I think we will do this. We will assign that die here, which gives us 5 energy right off the bat. So that's not bad. And I believe these are the energy cubes. We have smaller ones and we have bigger ones like this one here. So I think let's give 5 energy cubes here to the friends, which they could in theory immediately spend, for example, unlocking their second standee. So you can basically do that at any time buying those cards. Oh, that's an interesting one. Or we save our energy to get this card here for 9. We are relatively close already. Still, I think I want to show you as much as possible from this game. So I guess I'm spending 3 of my energy to unlock my second standee here. So I think we are moving this card over here now to show it has been purchased. Relatively certain there is a space for this, but I think now we have unlocked it. And I think we are getting to place this 1 time zone away from us. Yes, indeed. And I would love to bring it basically here, but we can move through other hero spaces, but we cannot end our movement. So I cannot place our heroes, our friends there. I think at least that's the case. So maybe we want to place them into New York instead. instead. Or we could... No, I think we are going to place them here, actually. We don't get the health here, unfortunately, because we are full healed. But with our next move, we can use those playing fields. So I think, yeah, that makes sense. Let's leave it like that. Now we move over to Captain Plate, who still has 3 dice to assign. And I'm somewhat inclined to do some damage right away, actually. Why not? Again, relatively certain I will not do a full playthrough here. I will preview a couple of rounds here for you, just that you get an understanding of the game. So yeah, let's do as much as possible. So I think we want to assign this die down here. And of course, maybe I should mention that you can only assign a die to a space once. I think there are some stacking abilities with some of the heroes or maybe with some of the sponsor cards, but usually you can only assign. So this place is now blocked. I cannot place another die here. Likewise, I cannot simply assign a second die on the same track. You can only do that. So let's say if you already have evened out all the other tracks here. With 3 dice, that's not possible, but with 5 dice, we could. So first 4 dice will go onto these phases, and then with the 4th dice I can then again decide to go for one of the others. And again, we have to use them as evenly as possible, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think, are we moving first? Well, we can do 5 damage, 4 damage here, and with the 2 we could gain. I think that's relatively, but let's do that the second. We will start with this. We will assign the 2 here, which will give us 2 energy. Again, that's always helpful. So that was our first die. Then we will have to move, and I think we will want to move 3 spaces. And again, we can use those planes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's enough. 1, 2, 3. Because we have entered a space with the lava, we have to take a damage, and I think it ignores armor exactly. So we lose 1 life point here, but I think for now that's okay. Then we will assign our last die onto this space. This simply means 4 damage, and now we have to check where we are. Right now we are on a black space, and this is what defines which damage you do. We are also in range 0. That's important because again we have blades, so we can only hit in melee with melee attacks in this case. So we are on a black space, and in this case we are doing basically 4 points of damage, right? 4 points of damage onto the black track here accordingly. Right now we have 5 armor here, so that's definitely a pity, but we have driven down the armor. I think that's still important enough. So the right side is now pretty much down to only 1 armor. So with our next attack we will most likely be able to do some serious damage here. Those RE symbols here means whenever you land on it or pass over, we will trigger one of those reaction counters, and they can be pretty awful actually. So the Titan will always hit back. It's really not an easy game, especially I think when you're playing it with just 2 heroes. But now we have at least somewhat of 3 heroes because we have 2 standees for our friends, which again makes us a little bit more agile. But okay, this was our action phase. We are moving over to the World Shaper, so we will trigger our first action card here. There are cards which we have removed from the deck, which shows 3 or 4 players. So this is already, they have taken care of some of the balancing issues, I think. So that's already a good thing. And now we are doing that's really terrible. So we are doing a lava stream. We're triggering all of those actions from top down to bottom. And whenever we can't do the left one, we do the or one. On all the others simply, I think it's simply what it is. So in this case, it's attacking. It's basically attacking its back, I believe. At least I think it's the back, or it's the front. I can't quite remember. In this case, it doesn't really matter. It's a little bit illogical because the Titans move in a clockwise fashion around the board, but the rules say that the rightmost number is the front of the Titan. So this feels a little bit counterintuitive, unless I'm really not getting it correctly. So I will play by the rules, but in this case, again, it doesn't make any difference because currently our Captain Blade is in the same time zone, or Titan's time zone, so the middle damage will be assigned, which again in this case means we are doing 3 damage to Captain Blade. Luckily, she still has some armor, and her overcharge ability may discard energy to prevent 1 damage each. So we could even bring it down by 1, but I think as long as we have some armor here, we will get rid of the armor instead. So now she's completely armorless. So yeah, we have to be careful. Unfortunately, we are not done yet, so we are placing new lava tokens in time zone in front of Titan. Again, I think in front of Titan means in the clockwise, in the order it moves to. I might be terribly wrong, but again, not the end of the world in this case. So in this case, we will place some more of those lava tokens into Kinshasa. So we are covering up those bonus fields. That's definitely a concern. And I just noticed something. I believe I don't have any heroes right now who can remove Titan markers here with this symbol. Oh yeah, that's really a concern. That's something maybe I shouldn't have drawn those characters randomly. So for example, Starlet Johansson, very nice hipster or hippie girl. With basically this track here, she can remove these markers here, or can remove these markers here in heroes range, and we can remove up to 3 markers. So this is really a very, very helpful ability, and this is where you already can see how cooperative, how coordinated this game really is. And this is really a very, very fun design decision. I really like this a lot, but I still do think that the more heroes you have, the more choices you also have in this game. So maybe I should have considered to play this 3-handedly, which is not really ultimately a problem in this case. There are really not so many special powers that you have to keep in mind. But yeah, I forgot that, so we have to live with my decisions here. Unfortunately, we are still not done yet. We still have some movement here, which in this case means, I believe I misspoke. I think as far as I understand, they are basically moving over those small spaces. They're only moving from, these are the only Titan spaces, the big ones. So they're really moving from city to city. I might be terribly incorrect here, but I think that's the case. So we're moving from Paris directly to Kinshasa. Luckily, there is no T.D.O base in this space, but the next movement they would already start destroying this base here, which is a cool base. And I think I forgot, actually, no, this was so stupid, of course. Yeah, that was definitely a mistake on my behalf, kind of, because I moved over it, which means I wasn't able to gather this armor here. I think that was definitely a mistake on my behalf, strategically, not from a rules perspective. And yeah, guess what? We're still not done, because there's still one more ability left down here. Deal 1 damage, ignoring armor to each heroes on lava markers. Yeah, which again hits our friend Captain Blade, unfortunately. Maybe just to give you a reference, what those 5-player cards, not 3, 4, 5 4-player cards are. So we have God of Stone, which will increase all the armor tracks, I believe, by 5. This is insane. Yeah, I think this is a heal for 3. Insane. Here we have a move, which is okay, but then 3 damage to each heroes on lava markers. So insane. And here we are moving 2 space. And this is really especially problematic, because then we are moving around the clock much faster. And yeah, we will have to remove or kill, destroy those T.D.O bases much quicker. And again, once all 3 are gone, we have lost the game. But at least that's basically it for this turn. So the World Shaper is done. Of course, let's not forget the extra damage we have to do here. There is no real healing power, right? The only real healing we can do right now with the friends. Of course, no, we can move. No, I think we are okay. I think we are okay. We should be able to move, heal Captain Blade relatively easily. So let's move the active player marker. I have basically put this in, but really just to help me to remind myself who is the active player and who isn't. We are moving the 3 dice to the friends. The 1 die goes over to Captain Blade, and then we start our next round. And I think I will do 1 or 2 more rounds so that you get acquainted with the majority of the rules. So let's roll the 3 dice for our friends here. Oh, that's cool. We have 2 6s and a 2, so we can spot those. And when we have 2 of a kind, we will get 1 energy for that. So that's already very nice. I take that. Let's also roll the die for Captain Blade. That's a 4. I think with the 4 we may want to move, actually. Let's see about that. And the 6s are of course insane, actually. I think we have to assign the 6 down here for 8 energy. I mean, that is truly insane. We will simply start with them, and I think we are immediately spending the 9 here. Yeah, let's totally do that to buy ourselves this card here, which is a discard after use cards. You can have an unlimited amount of discard after use cards, but only permanent cards, you can only ever have 3 of those. So that's now pretty amazing, and in theory we can immediately use it, and I think we will immediately use it. Or move 1 T.D.O base by 2 steps. Let's totally do that. Here I'm not 100% sure if we can move it through, let's say, a time zone with a Titan. For now I assume that's a no, so I guess let's move that base 1, 2 spaces over here, so we're protecting it for quite a while. I really do like that. Cool, cool, cool stuff. We also immediately reveal a new sponsor card, and this is for 7. Oh, we can basically trigger our ultimate power after basically 1 time. So this can be incredibly useful at times. Yeah, really, I like those sponsor cards. They really bring a lot of nice little twists, and they all refer then in the end to the individual ultimate powers or special abilities. Really a job very nicely done on those cards. And overall, the mechanics in this game are really, really cool. I like those. Let's do her power first. We could simply gain 3 extra, but I think we don't want to end our turn on another of these spaces. So I think we want to move away. Yeah, let's do that. So that's 3 movement points. So that's 1. We get our life back. Even if we are passing through, we get that. So that's nice. So we are fully healed again. I take that. 2 and 3 over to this base, which gives us our starting armor right back. So this was actually a pretty perfect roll for Captain Blade. Back to our friends. So there are a lot of things we can do. We can simply up their defenses with a 2, with a 6. We can't do any damage because our range is 0. So I think this doesn't really help us. We have already used this track here. This is our healing track, but again, doesn't necessarily help us here. So I may want, I think that's the best we can do, right? So I think we are using the 2 for movement. So we get 5 movement anyway. So they are very, very, very swift characters. And the cool thing about those 2 standees is they can move independently, and they get all basically the full movement points each. So we don't have to distribute those. I think, at least I hope I have understood that correctly. So I guess in this case, we can move here. We could get some energy here. So we have 5 movement points, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go here with a second one, actually. We get the energy, we get the shield. I think that's perfect. We have to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything that you are ending your movement on or passing through is a bonus that you get. So we get 3 shields and 2 energy. That's pretty insane. So that's 4 shields and 2 energy. That was for the first movement. Unfortunately, we are moving onto a space with a lava marker, so we take 1 damage here. But I think that's still okay, because up next we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces here. Let's leave it here, actually. Let's stay where we are. They can really move relatively quickly, which means we get 3 energy, 3 shields, and 3 health right back. Amazing. So again, here is 3 energy. How many shields were there? 3 shields. So we are moving to 7 shields. Okay, let him come. The problem is those lava markers, they do direct damage. So they really ignore all these damage pieces. And we are healing basically the damage that we have received. Wow, that is insane. That was a very cool die placement here on this one here, and I think as we are now in the same range, same time zone as the Titan, we will assign this die in here, which is a 6, dealing 5 damage. Again, we are on a black space, which means 1 damage destroys the armor, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4 more damage to its right. We have landed on a reaction card, which means we are triggering the action right away. Oh, okay. Wow, it's moving 1 space further. Interesting. So we would have lost our first base right here and there. So they're moving into Cairo, or the World Shaper is moving into Cairo. But I think those were all of our actions. We still have some energy though. Do I want to spend it for this one here just to prep ourselves? I think we do, actually. I think we do. We will spend 5 energy now to buy this card. And again, we don't have to trigger it right away. Yeah, we can do that pretty much anytime. But now we have bought it, we can use it, and we would also gain a card for free from the sponsor market. So if we're using it, very nice. But yeah, we want to wait until we really have to heal, I think. So for now, we will hold on to this card. Nice. Okay, then let's trigger the next World Shaper action. Okay, we are building up. We are getting, oh gosh, this is really frustrating. So we are bringing this up to 6. This goes back to 3. This will become an 8. Are you kidding me? And this will become a 12. At least I think they can go above that. Wow, that's insane. And now they heal for 5, which means they're right back where they started. I think this is really by far the worst card in our, let's say, basic action deck of the World Shaper. Maybe just to make things clear, the increased armor really is true for all the health track. That's as clear. But for the heal, we are basically only doing 5, or in this case was 5 or 4, 5 in total. So not all the tracks would go up by 5. It's really a combined value. And then I think we will start from basically front to the back respectively. So it's not as bad as it sounds. Okay then, let's keep going for now. So we are moving 3 dice over here, 1 die goes over here. So we are rolling for Captain Blade. I think this is, yeah, that's a 2. It's a dirty die actually, or it's scratched, I don't know, but this is definitely 1 more energy and a 5. I take that. So we are spotting those dice, so that's easy. We are getting 1 energy. For the friends, we are rolling their dice, which is a 3. Again, I have to check for a second what I'm going to do next. Okay, do I want energy? Or do I want, I think I want to continue doing some damage. We could gain some energy with that, so I think that's perfect. So we are moving 2 spaces, 1 and 2. We are getting 2 energy out of this, so that's already a win. As there are no lava markers in this space, that's fine. We cannot move into a space with a Titan, or can move through a space with a Titan, unfortunately. Then I think we will go with a 2 here, I guess. Yeah, this gives us 2 more energy, right? So I will take that, basically prepping either for a more powerful card. We could go for card 5 actually, which is nice. We get a free move. I think that's something definitely worth considering. And yeah, before I do the friends with the 3, it doesn't matter too much. No, I think we are doing some more damage for now. Again, I'm in the black zone, which means we are doing damage to the right side. In order with a range 0 character to damage to either to his front or back, we have to really use those spaces here, because they're both orange and yellow, and depending if you are left or right, you're doing basically front or bottom or rear of them. That's really a very big limitation to those melee characters. So I think my starting setup with these 2 characters wasn't ideal, but yeah, live and learn. I will definitely keep going. I think you still get a good understanding of what this game has to offer. It's still good enough, so we are still doing, what was it, 6 damage actually, which could be okay because we are not triggering another reaction here. So that was 3, then we get 3 more, right? I keep, yeah, 3 more. 1, 2, 3. So right above the reaction space, which is okay. We still have the friends, but I think before we do the friends, we will spend the 5 energy to buy our upgrade card here. So we can now move. I'm relatively certain we will see some cool artwork on those cards here too. So we can basically move 2 spaces for free when we are the active player, which is definitely important. But still, it's basically a free die. The 3 here doesn't help us because, again, we are not in the same time zone. That's really, really limiting. So having this range 0 is definitely a bummer. 2 health doesn't help us either. 5 movements, again, as we can move both of our standees around, that's not terrible. But I think in this case we want some more energy, because with our ultimate power we can share the energy. And if we're really playing our cards correctly, we're giving Captain Blade enough so that she can then trigger her ultimate power to, yeah, deal more damage. So I think let's do that. I believe that's already cool. We have now 7 here. We could again buy something. So maybe let's have a quick look at those cards here. 7. We can buy them all. We can get a free ultimate power charge, which is not bad. Can remove reaction cards. We are in range too, but we are not triggering this, but this can be really cool. The 6, I don't think this one here, it's not really particularly helpful at this point in time. So I guess let's not buy anything just yet. No. Maybe one thing to note, you can always pay 2 energy at any time to discard all cards on display and lay out 3 new ones. So if you're really running out of options, then maybe this is something I want to do. But again, then we would be down to 5 energy only, and I think then these cards maybe are not as useful. So let's wait on this. But yeah, unfortunately, then it's the World Shaper who is next. Okay, we do some bash. Oof. That's now terrible. Yeah, we do. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Here again, it does matter if this is the front or if this is the front. I will play by the rules that this is the front, which means I think our friends do not suffer any damage. I think not. The thing is, I believe they ended their movement on a lava space here, or their round. I'm not sure if that counts for only. I think it doesn't not just count for the active players. So I think they have to take 1 damage here. Okay, I really forgot that. But again, in this case, let's look at this card here again. So definitely she, Captain Blade, is taking a damage. I think it's a she. I think she's a she. Like this, because that's the middle one. We have enough armor, so we are getting down to 2 in this case, so not a big deal. But again, the rules say that this is in front, and again, I still have to assume that they're not moving backward, right? So I guess they are not suffering any damage in this case. Might be terribly wrong, but again, Marcus from the future here. I was reading again in those rules here. And even the example says that this is the front of it. And again, it's moving in a clockwise fashion. Unless, again, I'm really misunderstanding the clock. It's really not very intuitive. So I think this is indeed this one here. It's in front. Again, it doesn't really make 0 sense. But I think we take this damage here. And I think this was a 2 on the friend. So let's not cheat here. Let's reduce the marker here according. We are still doing okay armor-wise. Live and learn. And then, oh, we are doing in time zone behind Kite. Again, this is now really clearly behind because this is where they are moving, which means we are triggering the reaction instead. So I can even show you some more reaction cards. Isn't that lovely? Okay, it heals 3, of course. 1, 2, 3. It's fully healed again. So this is really frustrating. But okay, it is what it is. Then we are moving 1 space, which is this one here. So 1 more space we are destroying. And that is now really a problem. Oh boy, what did I do? We could lose 2 bases pretty much in 1 go. The good thing is the last base is really here. So this will definitely take us some time. But you see, with all the healing that the Titan is doing, we are not doing anything right now. And I guess last but not least, our friends get 1 damage because they are on a lava marker. But I think this is okay. Okay, let's do 1 final round for this preview here. So we are moving back, or the marker, to the friends who are now the active players. We will roll their dice. And now I'm really thinking of, basically to show that to you, spending 5 of these energy cubes to roll a 4th die, just for the giggles. Again, this can only be done by the active player. And okay, that's not too bad. So we can spot basically 2 equals here, which gives us at least 1 energy. So not too terrible. Let's also roll the die for Captain Blade, which is a measly 1. Measly 1, I think, in this case. Okay, we could move her. This could work actually, and she would gain an energy. Should we do that just to prepare and really maybe consider we are not moving the Titan? So this could help us actually. Or should we simply go for the 2 energy? Let's do the friends first. I think we will totally do this now. We will gain 7 with this. I think we will trigger the 5 here as well. We will gain 2 health back, and we will trigger our ultimate power, share my lunch. which says, once per turn you may distribute your current energy between you and other heroes within range 1, which is totally okay. For Captain Blade's ultimate power, the Energy Blast, she needs basically groups of 3 in order to do that. So here is 1, here is 1, and here are 2 more. So we are moving all our energy to Captain Blade. So this could be 1, 2, 3, 4 extra damage she is doing. So this can be definitely huge. On the other hand, if you're now playing our cards, no, I think let's do that instead. So she gains 2 anyway, so we can move 2 back to her, and she gets 2 this way, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly. So we can basically leave 2 with our friends here because she gets 2 from this. So I think this makes sense. So this is how really the timing of these actions definitely do matter. Then, that's now again a tricky one. Do we want to continue with our... I think we really want to move off our lava marker. So I guess we will send this in here. Right, we can move basically both of our standees up to 5 spaces. So let's do that. So I think we can. Let's do that. 1 and 2. We're getting 2 more energy here. Again, this timing wise, I could have factored this in as well. But yeah, I will not take it back, of course. So we'll get 2 more energy for that. And I think I'm running out of small energy cubes, so I have to make some changes here, which is okay. So we can move 2 up there, and I think we want to leave them here for now, and then we want to also move them somewhere, right? We can again take a lot of stuff. 1, 2, 3. I think we cannot move back and forth. Okay, let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 into Sao Paulo. Really hoping we are not getting pushed out of this, but we get 3 more armor and 3 more energy this way. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's 3 more energy, right, and 3 more armor. So we are moving to an A, right? Is this the 8? Yeah, that's the 8. Okay, so I think armor-wise we are doing okay. Unless we are not moving onto those lava spaces, we are in an okay shape. I take that. Cool stuff. We still have a die left, and I think, yeah, let's totally, well, we could get more. Yeah, we have to assign it here because, again, as evenly as possible among those 4 tracks, so we will do 2 damage, and again we will do that here to the right. Again, I'm not sure, I'm not playing this ideally. I'm pretty sure you can definitely combine, consolidate or coordinate your actions much better, because I think doing these one-off kind of damages and then their healing is not ideal. But again, the idea of this playthrough is to a walkthrough preview is to show you the mechanics of the rule, give you an idea of what this game is all about, and most certainly not how to play this game particularly well. But that's basically, we have to return the extra die. Unfortunately, we are only buying this for this round. But then, yeah, I think we can stay here on where we are. We are revealing our next card. Okay, we have the Blast in Titan's time zone and both adjacent ones. Are you kidding me? We are doing lava markers. Oh boy, that's really terrible. That's really, really terrible. I don't think we are suffering the damage right here, right there. But it's still, I will show you in a second why. And again, this is now really a problem that we can't remove those tokens. And I think, yeah, we're doing this to the same time zone and both adjacent time zones. Is that what they said? I think so. 1 and 2. This was all adjacent, and because we are covering the base, our first base is lost. Are you kidding me? Boy, I'm really not playing this game particularly well, but you can see how challenging this game can be. Oh boy. Yeah, but we have lost our first base, and the problem is the next base will fall right away, actually. So this is now terrible. And I think we have, yeah, we can stay here. We have our movement, so it will move to, what was it, New York? Exactly, but that's that. And then we deal 1 damage to, yeah, each hero. Right now, Captain Blade is on a space with a lava marker, which means she's suffering 1 damage here. And I think this is the end of the round, and I think also the end of my preview here. You should have a good understanding of what this game is all about. I was really not playing this particularly well, but I wanted to show you as many of the mechanics as possible. You have seen all the World Shaper action cards. We can have a look at the rest of those. So we will deal damage here. We can move, place in the district, opposing time zone. Are you kidding me? Wow, a lot of damage to a lot of time zones. Back and forth, some heal. Okay, so really a lot of stuff. Similarly here for the reaction cards. I think most of those, yes, exactly, doing a lot of damage, but also doing some heals. We are lava markers, deal 2 damage next round. So overall, basically making the game a little bit more challenging. And there are also tokens to basically wrote this one down. And keep in mind, this is only one of the 4 titans in the deck. So we have Treeback here. I mean, they work all, let's say, somewhat similarly, but some of those do have different tokens. Like in this creeper token, this is very specific for the Treeback, for example, different kind of tokens that we are placing. So they all feel a little bit differently. Like this one here, this is a minion spawner. I think this is when the creeper would spawn, for example. So they all have their very unique effects, but still, from a mechanics perspective, they're all very much the same, which is good from a rules perspective, though it's not a totally new game each time you're playing it. It's simply a little bit more of a nuance every time you play that. I think it was definitely a problem that I don't have any characters that would allow me to remove those Titan markers here. Definitely a lessons learned. This shouldn't really happen to me again. And again, ultimately, I don't think I did necessarily all the right decisions in a lot of these instances. But again, the idea of this video was to show you as much as possible. And yeah, with that being said, the campaign is about to launch maybe end of April or in May. I think it was not finally decided. You will find a link to a preview page. I think it should pop up during this video. You will also find a link in the description of this video. So yeah, definitely go check it out and maybe back it. And yeah, with that being said, really hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And yeah, until then, bye bye.